What is up, everybody, and welcome to episode 32 of the Geek Cast. I am Bobby, the Geek Guru, joined yet again by my wonderful, lovely English counterpart, Toby. What is up, Toby?
Yeah, you're damn straight. I'm lovely. I'm very well, thank you, Bobby.
Alan and both Holly weren't able to make it this week. Holly had issues with her grandmother and grandfather, so we hope they're doing better. Alan is just a drunken mess and decided he couldn't get up to do the podcast. So we are joined by a good friend, recently good friend. I just became friends with this guy, and he's a really awesome guy. Sean, like Connery, Capri like the pants. What is up, Sean?
Man, you're making me blush. It's way too early for this. I'm doing great. It's good to talk to you guys.
For those that don't know, and you should know, and it's an embarrassment if you don't know, you should get on top of it. Sean does a really cool podcast. What is it called? I know we the nerdy, but what is the podcast? Is We the GamerCast?
Yeah, it's still early, so I forgive you. That's
fine. Yeah, I was on it and I've listened to it like 50 times already, so I like hearing myself talk. So it's so you would think that I would have it down, but it was funny because the other day I wanted to go. I was like, man, did I give Sean a rating on iTunes? And I went, and apparently I went to the wrong one because there's another one of you guys for We the Nerdy. It's got the same logo and everything, but it just says We the Nerdy.
Oh, really? I don't even know that. In Canada, it's all correct, so I'm not sure what's going on in the States.
Well, there's one that has the same logo as you and everything. It says We the
interesting.
Nerdy. And
maybe someone's copying you and just like putting your podcast up.
I take it as a compliment.
Yeah, now I gotta look this up because it's funny. But I left the rating like it was you, and then I was like, man, that's strange. I put the rating up, and it didn't register last time. Like that makes no sense. Like normally it takes like a day or so to get up. We the Nerdy. Let's see. And when I did it, We the Nerdy, it's right here. All
that
new
must
comic
be something super old. That must be something really old. We the GamerCast, it should pop up. It's got my name on the icon and whatever. Anyway, this is like super great rate. Oh, look at that.
Look at this. Look at it's the same logo and everything, except for minus the stuff. But it says We the Nerdy.
Oh, I think that's a comic book show that they did.
Yeah. So I think if you go into reviews, there's one review by the Geek Guru. It says a Wii show 5-star or 4-star, 5-star, and all this stuff. This is hands down one of my favorite podcasts now. Sean does an excellent job of making his guests feel comfortable, which allows them to open up. And then after I hit it, I was like, if I hit send, I was like, oh, that's not Sean stuff. What the heck? So, anyway, you're rated on a couple of things, but I do have you on We the GamersCast. This is making for some entertainment.
That's just another old man Bobby thing for you, isn't it?
That's all right. This is a really good way to tell everybody which one not to rate and then to look for the correct one. So I'm all good with it. If everybody just wants to not follow your lead for now and then go to the right one, We the GamerCast. Yeah, man, it's been an absolute ride.
Just rate them all. Rate them all.
Yeah, right?
It doesn't matter. You'll be all right. So anyway,
people rate podcasts. So thank you. I appreciate that.
But I was on Sean's show a couple weeks ago. Had a really great time, and we've stayed in contact since. And I was like, I got to get you on the Geek Cast. Like we got to do this, and he was willing to do it. So thank God. I thought he was just using me to get on his show, but apparently we are friends. So that's good.
Hey Sean, can you tell us about your amiibo display there?
Oh, sure thing. So my wife and I have a bit of a problem. It started with Skylanders, actually. Even when the first game came out, she saw those figures and she's like, I'm getting into this thing hardcore. And, actually, at first it was kind of like, I'll get a couple from every element, and that's kind of how everything will go. And before she knew it, she had like 80% of the collection.
Oh,
and so once you get to that point, you're like, well, we got to finish this thing off. And she's been doing that ever since. So every year. So the first one, and then Giants, and then whatever the next one was, Trap Keepers or something like that. And so when I wasn't really into the Skylanders, I like the figures, and I actually like hunting these things down for her birthday and for Christmas and things like that. But when Amiibo came out, I'm like, this is mine. This is the one. This is my Skylander. So I'm going to go absolutely nuts for this. And I remember the first one I got, it was at Toys R Us. I'll show you guys here on the video, but it was the Wii Fit Trainer was the first one that I picked up. Just like, I don't know, I thought it was absolutely hilarious that they did this one. And turns out that's like one of the more rare ones available. Yeah. So
do you keep them in their boxes, or because I noticed some of them look like they're out of their boxes?
Some of them are out, so I don't know how I'm making this decision, honestly. This is what really keeps me up at night, is things keeping them in their boxes or to take them out. So we have a couple out. So my wife has been collecting the Animal Crossing guys, so those ones are all out. She doesn't care about keeping them in the case. But we basically have like a storage issue where I've actually had to, like, we have this little nook behind me, and I've built these shelves like custom, so I know how many Amiibo I could fit, like width-wise, and then how many shelves I could fit in. So there's about an inch above every Amiibo, so I got the shelves done pretty good. But I don't know, I've been collecting them pretty good. I've got all three of the Yoshi guys in there.
Yeah. So here's a question as well. On the packaging, do they have numbers in the corners, or is it just 6+?
It's just 6+, so I don't have to do the whole OCD thing where I've got them all in order. I get to kind of making little mini collections based on the shelf, so they all kind of go together in some weird way. Like I've got a Legend of Zelda shelf, and Super Mario and things like that. And then where things kind of look kind of similar, I like to put them together. Like I've got, Lucas and Ness are together, but I've got them right next to Villager because they're just kind of cute little guys. So, yeah, this is like my pride and joy right here. This is my most favorite thing I've ever done.
That's what saved me, was that the United States, we didn't get numbers. Because if we got numbers, I'd have been screwed. I would have been trying to get 2 of every single one to open and one to keep in the box, thank God they didn't have the numbers on them.
I did that for a while. I did have 2 versions of everyone for a little bit, and then you kind of quickly realize that that's going to get way out of hand. So basically, if I've got a Dr. Mario in the case, and I've got the regular Mario out, so I've kind of got, it's almost like a second pose kind of thing. So if there's any rhyme or reason to it, that's about as close as it gets.
But here's my question. How, because you're a legit collector. Like, I've talked to guys from Canada, but they're not hardcore. You're obviously hardcore. You're like,
I've pushed kids out of the way.
Yeah, you're like me and stuff. You don't listen. I'm gonna edit that out because I don't want people to. We had, like, you can see behind me, I'm nuts with these things, but I take everything out of the package. Toby keeps everything boxed. But my question is how difficult was it, and is it, to Amiibo hunt in Canada? Like, is it, for you, what's the difficulty? Like, are you buying stuff online? Are you able to get them in store? Like, what's the situation there?
I'm mostly buying in the store. There's been a couple of Amazon exclusives, but other than that, like, I think Palutino was an Amazon exclusive. I can't remember. I think there was another one. Can't remember off the top of my head. But yeah, mostly been going to stores like Walmart and here at CB Games, the GameStop. And like, just kind of getting in line ridiculously early. There's actually one right by my work, so I can walk away from work there. It opens about an hour and a half after I get there, and I can just kind of like line up with other, like, when it's downtown, everybody's like professionals, so it's kind of funny to see everybody dressed up in suit and tie and going to get their Amiibos and stuff in the morning. It's pretty great, but yeah, it's been getting a lot better, and I think it's probably similar to what's going on in the States as well. I think they just had the Ryu and a few other Animal Crossing things just announced the other day and available for pre-order. And I think we're just going to go get them when they come out. Like, we're not really too worried about it. So it's gotten a lot better.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. With the difficulty level, though, was it difficult? Like, did you find times like it was extremely hard to get stuff and now it's loosened up a little bit? Or
Definitely. Actually, Lucario is one I haven't seen until just the other day. So I went and picked up Lucario. The worst that it was, I think, was probably Dark Pit was one of the most difficult ones that I had to find. And it was one where I was just getting frustrated with other people. And I think, Bobby, you and I connect on this on my show. Where, like, I saw a guy at Best Buy. He was asking the clerk or whatever for a Dark Pit. And I saw in his hand he already had 2 bags from other EB Games. And I'm like, well, what do you got there? And he's like, I've got 2 others. I'm like, dude, what are you doing, man? Like, he's like, I'm gonna sell them. I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. I cannot stand this reselling and just making a quick buck on people who are legitimately trying to, especially like for kids and stuff. Like these are Nintendo characters, right? So there's a lot of people who want Mario and Link and some of these other ones. I mean, those are the easier ones to find, but yeah, it's people making a quick buck off of people who really just want to collect this stuff. So I've had a few instances where like my parents or something will give me a duplicate, and where it is a rare one, I won't even just take it back. I'll put it up on Craigslist or Kijiji and say, like, who wants this thing? Like, I don't want to gouge anybody. I just want to make sure everybody can collect this stuff, because it's ridiculous that people kind of go out of their way to make it difficult for other people. So that's my being Canadian. Yeah,
well, hey, listen, that's kind of what got me. That's how I met Toby, and I met all the guys. You know, like that's all the people that I am close to, especially in the Geek Guru Facebook group. Is a lot of it stemmed from this, you know, me giving them away and stuff, because I didn't want to be that guy. And it's crazy because I did. When I first started, I was like, I'm going to make $1 million off this. I'm going to be, and then the first one, I was like, first one I was Rosalina, I was like, let me give it away. And then all of a sudden, like, it just hit me. Like, when the girl sent me the letter, Patty Kim from Hawaii, when she sent me the letter, she was just like, you don't know what this means. And then she sent a picture of her and her brother, like, holding it when I sent it to him. I was like, never again. I'm not selling anything. I'm not going to even try to. I'm going to give it all away. So, but,
I mean, the fact is, it really is difficult. If you wanted to make a lot of money, it's a lot of effort. There's a lot of risk, and just forget it. Let's all be happy with this stuff. Yeah, man, I love collecting this stuff. I mean, I'm the guy who defends it to the death about it. Like, the Amiibo's not really doing a whole heck of a lot. If they do something, that's just a bonus to the fact that they're sitting and looking awesome on the shelf.
That's how I am. So, okay, Toby, thanks for getting the show off.
Yeah, no.
Off the rails already. So, man, you talk Amiibo and we just lose it. So, we're going to kick this – well, we can't kick this episode off like we did every episode because Toby went ballistic with Amiibo. He got all giddy.
That's my fault. Sorry, guys.
No, it's Toby's fault. Trust me.
Right.
We're gonna kick off with our Geek Outs, and we'll go to Toby first. Toby, what are you geeking out about?
Well, strangely enough, I'm geeking out about Disney Infinity figures.
Oh Lord.
So I've moved on from Amiibo. Right, I'm still collecting Amiibo, but I've pretty much got them all. I'm just waiting for Ryu and Roy at the moment. But yeah, so I've started collecting some Disney Infinity figures. I'm not trying to get them all, at least not at the moment. I'm just getting the ones that I like, and these ones are coming out of the box. Yeah. So I think I got like 12 so far. So we got, first of all, it started off. I bought my wife Karina Merida from Brave, you know, the Disney film. Got a couple of like Pirates of the Caribbean ones, Captain Jack and Barbossa and Davy Jones. Also Tinkerbell. But then, when I was out shopping for Karina's birthday, came across the Star Wars ones, and so we bought 5 of the Star Wars ones. Lord. So I got Kylo Ren, I got Sabine Wren, who is that, first of all?
Yeah, I don't know.
No clue. Alan's not here.
The second name
is. Don't come up with questions like that unless Alan's here. Okay?
Yeah, I mean, because I first of all, I thought Kylo Ren, Sabine Wren, are they related? But their second name's spelt differently, so
probably not then.
Anyway, Darth Vader, I got the FX light up one.
But it flashes, right? It doesn't like stay on.
You know, I haven't actually put him on the thing yet, so I don't know. But
I'm understanding it just flashes, and that kind of like turns me off.
I still think it's cool though.
No, it's just turn on and stay on, man.
Anyway, I got Boba Fett. Boba Fett is one of my favourite ones.
It's Boba Fett.
It's Boba Fett. It's not
Boba Fett.
What are you saying? Boba Fett?
Yeah, Boba Fett. Boba Fett. It's not Boba Fett. It's Boba Fett.
Is that Boba. What is a Baba like a? Is that like a Ukrainian uncle or something?
Yeah. Like, Louis, you man.
Look, I've always said Boba Fett.
Well,
so
you're always wrong. That's all I'm gonna say.
Alright, so I got Boba Fett.
My question, okay, serious question. Did you buy Like Skywalker?
No, because...
You didn't buy Like? Why didn't you buy Like Skywalker?
Look, shut up. I got Yoda, right? I got... we got the game.
You buy Yoda? It's not Yoda?
Shut up.
I filtered on that one, man. Good for you, Bobby.
We got Anakin and What's that one? Ahsoka, I think that's her name.
No,
She's got like an Egyptian.
That's probably Leia.
That's the one from the Clone Wars
Yeah.
cartoon.
But anyway, so they've got loads of them now. So, and I think that these Star Wars designs are better than a lot of the amiibo poses and stuff. Like, they just look cooler overall. Like, I mean, Star Wars characters are cool anyway, but I think like they've done a really decent job with the poses and stuff on these.
The Disney Infinity altogether, they're stylized. They're not supposed to look that way. They're all the same, but they're not. You know what I mean? Like all across the board. The only ones that aren't really stylized are like the mainstays, like Mickey, Minnie, Goofy, all those ones. Those look like the characters per se. But when you get into like the Marvel and the Star Wars, they have like a little different touch to them, and you know that's the one thing I like about them. And the one thing, like I said to you, like the bases. The bases are awesome. Like
yeah, they are.
I think they're better than Amiibo in terms of bases because they look like they're part of something. Like when you buy the Marvel ones, they all seem like they're in the same area, you know. And so even with the Star Wars ones, the bases are based upon, you know, where they are in the movies and stuff. So,
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Have they gotten into any of the special edition things? Like they used to have like those clear ones. I've got a bunch of those, the clear plastic special edition Disney Infinity. I haven't seen anything really.
I've never seen those.
Oh, I'll grab them for you guys in a second. I'm sure I've got them somewhere around here.
Have you ever seen the clear ones, Toby?
No, I don't think so.
They're like
they're a bunch of Toys R Us.
Yeah, it's the character, but like their body parts are all clear.
Really?
And certain parts are painted.
Are they rare then, those ones? Because I've never seen them.
Somewhat. They're not.
Well, like I said, I think
rare.
they only ran them on that first series, so I don't know if I've seen them ever since.
No, me neither. It was Series 1. They were exclusives to stores. So like, if GameStop, because the nice thing about it was unlike Nintendo, where Nintendo was like, hey, Dr. Mario is going to be exclusive to Target, and that's how it is. These guys were like, hey, you're going to be able to, like, we'll keep the Dr. Mario theme, but like, hey, you can get Dr. Mario everywhere, but if you want this translucent Dr. Mario, that's only at Target. So, but when you scanned them in, it still looked the same. It wasn't like it changed the game or anything like that. So it was just a different look. It was a variant of the actual figure. Sean, what are you geeking out about?
Man, it's hard not to geek out about all these toys when you guys bring them up because it's pretty much it's so funny because I can go a week without thinking about them for a second, and then all of a sudden I bring them up. I'm like, oh my god, this is all I can think about right now. But if I'm honest, what I'm geeking out about is the NX, and it's so funny that everybody but Nintendo are talking about the NX. They're coming up with like designs and like what are the specs of this thing, and we've all got a I think pretty close conception of what this console is going to be, and I'm right there with everybody else. Like I'm basically all but got a space for it under my TV of where this thing is going to go, and I'm just pretty pumped. I've got it seems like there's a lot of positive energy around the NX. It doesn't seem like anybody's going, wow, I think this thing's really going to mess up, that Nintendo's really going to drop the ball.
Apart from some analysts that have been
there's
saying
a couple.
maybe. Yeah.
There's only a couple, and there's really, like, if I really think about it, there's only been, like, one piece of sort of bad press where the Ori and the Blind Forest developers were saying that it's been difficult to get a dev kit.
But they got slapped down right after that, so.
Yeah. Exactly, and that's just it. I think that there's, like, this wave of positive momentum around the NX, and I'm pumped about it. I am so jazzed for the NX. Like, I think we talked about this again on my show. As soon as there's a pre-order available, I'm clicking on that. Like, I'm like on that Target site, hitting F5, refresh. When is this thing coming? Because it doesn't even matter. I mean, first of all, it's a Nintendo console, so we're gonna get it anyways. But
absolutely,
I just think that there is so much potential, and everybody in the gaming community, it seems, even people who aren't hardcore Nintendo fans, are behind this. They want to see Nintendo succeed. They don't want to see another Wii U. They realize that, you know, even though that there was good things with that, I think everybody does wish that there was more sales behind it, more people buying that console. But with this NX, it's like a clean slate, not only just on the console side, but from the leadership side and who's leading Nintendo into this new era. There's a sense of opportunity. In Canada, we do this with our hockey teams, where we think that this is the year we're going to get the Stanley Cup. This is, especially in Edmonton, we haven't, anyway. We'll go there. I'm just really pumped about just the possibilities. I'm on pins and needles for them to come out and say this is what it is, or even if they were to come out and say this is when we're going to tell you about it. This is, and if that date is 3 months away, I'm setting a timer on my phone. I'm setting a timer at work and crossing out the dates on my calendar and everything.
Yeah.
I'm so pumped about NX. It's actually getting to the point of being irrational about it.
I've actually started saving money, like, because I don't want to be caught off guard with this.
We did too. We started the calendar year. My wife and I were like, well, we should probably start putting some money away just in case this thing happens, because I think it's going to happen.
Yeah. My fear is Nintendo's going to come out with a direct and then go, it's up for pre-sale now, and I'm going to be caught with my pants down and not have any money, because I know the way GameStop's going to be. They're going to make you go pay it in full. And for whatever reason, they've been doing this lately where you have to buy consoles in full, and it used to be like you put a higher percentage down and that locked it in. But it seems like when I bought my Zelda 3DS, my Majora's Mask Special, they made me pay the whole thing up front.
Oh, so, really?
Yeah, and
that's crazy.
Yeah, which is fine. It's not a big deal, but I just want to be prepared, so I don't want to get caught.
Yeah. In the UK, like, you don't have anything like that. If you go into a game store, you might put £5 down.
Yeah.
But if you're pre-ordering something online, like, they don't take any money until it actually gets dispatched. So, like, the moment before it's dispatched, they'll take the money. So,
well, what happens is like, and that drives me up the wall too. They'll pre-purchase. They'll take the money out. They'll hang on to it for a day, but then they put it back in your account.
Right.
That drives me up the wall, because, that just happened with Fire Emblem Fates. Like, they took the money months ago, and I was like, okay, it's gone, no big deal. And I didn't realize they put the money back in. But I was using my GameStop credit card, and I didn't realize they put the money back in. And then all of a sudden, I bought some other things, and I was like, just shy of my limit, or the money I needed to buy it. And then all of a sudden, I was like, holy crap, I can't get the game now because of this. So I had to go and use my other credit card, change the payment information in order to get it. So that drives me a little nuts, because Amazon does the same thing, and so does because now I'm sitting there going, oh my god, what day does Twilight Princess come out? Because I pre-ordered through Amazon, I got to make sure I have the money in the account, so when they pull it, that's one of my nitpicks with all that pre-order and stuff. But myself, I am geeking out about. I've even talked about it in a public forum other than like Twitter and all my social media. But we started doing shirts.
Oh yeah, nice.
Yeah, I had four. We have four styles that were put out for first. And this week I'm going to buy up all of them just so I can have them. And I'm excited for it. But I'm looking forward to. I've been in contact with Design by Humans, because that's who's doing our shirts. And they're talking about bringing in coffee mugs and things like that. So if that's the case, like, I'm going to be really excited. Because that was the main thing. I was a little disappointed when I couldn't order a coffee mug. And, but now they're saying that they're working on it and it should be soon. So I'm happy about that. But they were really good to work with. They helped me out a lot. I had a couple questions, and they were right on top of it, and, just helped me with it, whatever I was doing. So, yeah, so we are on Design by Humans. Just go in there and search the Geek Guru, and you will find the shirts if you're interested. Just to check them out.
They look awesome. They look awesome, man. I really am impressed by that.
Thank you.
Yeah, by a nice selection and everything. I hope you guys sell a ton of them. You got to get them on little like T-shirt, because it wasn't clear to me at first that they were
I don't know why they did. I don't know why they didn't do that. Like, it was like you could click the logo. I think because they had shirts and sweatshirts and women's shirts in there. So.
So don't want to confuse you.
Yeah, once you click the logo, then it would, I think, took you in and let you. Then it started to show the shirts. But I was going to do something, something soon's coming up that once that happens, it'll be everything will be a central hub per se.
Nice. Yeah, no, they look awesome.
What are we playing? This time I'll go to Sean. Sean, what are you playing right now?
Part of the reason I'm geeking out about the NX is because I've been picking up my Wii U a little bit more these days. Normally I've been playing some Borderlands with my wife. We've got two TVs set up side by side so that we don't do split screen co-op anymore. We do two screen co-op.
Toby, these guys got the setup. I want you, listen, Sean, you need to take a picture of your setup. and either send it to me or post it on Facebook and tag me in it or Instagram, whatever. I need to see your setup. Like that.
He's taking us there.
Oh, he's
I'll
taking
take you there. I mean, this is why we need to do video.
Look at that! Wow.
So we've got the 2 screens there, and then we kind of take you down. Well, this isn't very good radio. I'll show you guys later, but we've got the two PS4s below. So we each can. That all started with Fallout 4 because my wife was like, "Yeah, I think I'm gonna play this for about 2 months straight." So that was around Christmas time, so we went.
Does that mean you need two consoles and two games, like, or is there some way to separate the screens from one console?
Most of the time, it means 2 games. So in Nintendo's case, it means 2 games. We have 2 copies of Mario Kart, so that we can play. We can have friends over and stuff. And we can have 4-on-4.
Yeah.
And kind of connect on the internet, which is awesome.
Oh my God, that's awesome. I'm in love.
Bobby's face just now, that was the best. Like, oh my God, you can do that.
Yeah, I'm moving to Canada. You're going to adopt me.
And you guys should come over. That would be great. That would be so awesome. We've got an extra room down here. It's fantastic.
Awesome.
Yeah,
that
so
would
we've
be
been
pretty
playing
amazing.
some split screen stuff. And on the digital side, so on Xbox and on, well, Xbox we only have one, but we have the 2 PS4s. When you buy digitally, you can share the game too, right? So I can play on my account, and I can have mine on the other account, and she plays on that one. So
that's cool.
That's been awesome. So whether or not we buy the game or if it comes with PS Plus, like we've got all these different things that we can do co-op in that way. And that's really taking us away from what we would normally play co-op, which would be like the Lego games and things like that, which I think are a no-brainer for that same screen couch co-op kind of thing. But we kind of had just been going through Borderlands 2 through the Handsome Collection. It's just been an absolute riot. But I started by talking about the Wii U because I've been moving away from that a little bit. I've been playing a little bit of Splatoon, get my butt kicked by a bunch of Japanese kids. But still a great time, man. I'm just loving Splatoon. I was late to the party on that one. But
I love it.
It's just a quality game. I mean, there's no way around it.
No.
I just love it. Picked up Mario Maker the other day. Didn't make any courses, but kind of just got a flood of new content because I haven't picked that one up since probably November. So I dabbled in that a little bit. But what I'm really playing and where I'm not sitting on my couch in front of my TVs is freaking Fire Emblem Fates Birthright. This game is my first Fire Emblem game. It has captured my imagination. It has like changed it. This is another genre of game that I haven't really dived into much before, but and this is where I'm like, I don't know why I haven't done this before. This is one of, I don't want to say perfect game, but this is a perfectly timed game for me, where I can just, either I'm taking the bus to work, or I'm waking up, or I'm going to bed, or in between meals, I'm playing Fire Emblem Fates all the time, and I think the thing about it, aside from the animations and the art style and the music and the world and all the characters, the gameplay is so quick. Yeah. It's turn-based, so it sort of, you walk into it thinking, well, I'm going to be just kind of plodding along here, but it is so fast, and the way that everything just kind of like moves along, that is what is keeping it addictive for me. No load times, and it almost seems like a given on a 3DS, but it's an older console. It's an older piece of hardware. But you just go from battle to battle to battle to the next thing, and then before you know it, you're back into another one, and then 3 hours later, you're still playing Fire Emblem Fates. Yeah. I'm loving this game. I hope you guys have picked it up, because I'm telling strangers on the street, you need to play this game.
Yeah, that's what I'm playing too as well. And I did play Awakening. That was my first, was Awakening. And I got pretty deep into Awakening, but I just stopped. Something else came along, grabbed me, and I just lost it. I was afraid of this one because of the 3 games. I did buy the collector's edition, which what I liked about it was you play the beginning, the first 6 chapters, and the first 6 chapters is the same for everybody. You're going along, you're learning a little bit about who your character is and what's going on. And then the minute chapter 6 hits, you need to make a decision. Whose side are you on? And with the collector's edition, it gives you, the Nor, Hoshiden, or you could just go, I don't want to be with anybody, and you go it alone. I took Birthright. That was, Hoshiden was the way I went the first time. But part of me really wanted to go Nor, but I just said, what?
Really?
Yeah, man. I don't know what it was.
They're a bunch of dicks.
I know. I know. I am too. That's. But I was just like, I don't know. There was just something about it. I don't want to spoil the story for anybody, but I just feel like there's more than we're seeing. Um, and I just don't know how I just think that there's ulterior motives behind that king. I feel like there's someone pulling the strings. And that's, and I don't feel like that's legit what's going on.
It's not so black and white.
Yes. And
it seemed like going to the Mushroom Kingdom or going to like Bowser's Castle.
Yeah, I don't feel like it's like that. I don't feel like
okay.
I feel like if you go to Bowser's Castle and you decide you're going to go with Bowser, I feel like it's maybe a magician controlling things.
Okay.
So that was going through my head when I was playing. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to go with Birthright. I'm going to go with the Hoshiden first, especially after what happened in the city. And I was just like, my first reaction was like, F you guys, I'm killing you all. And then I was like, they make the decision very difficult to pick. I will say that.
That's what really surprised me.
Yeah, they made
was that I cared that early in. Sorry for interrupting.
No, go ahead. Yeah.
No, I was just going to say, I wanted to ask you about getting it as that collector's edition, because it does prompt you at that one point, 6 chapters in, it says, like, which way do you want to go?
Yeah.
Even if you only have Birthright. So even if you only have one of them. And so at that point, I mean, that's really what gets me into thinking I'm going to be buying these other ones. So it's a nice little marketing hook built into the game.
Yeah.
And I'm like, but it's like, it seems like, I'm on the fence about this, and I want to know your guys' thoughts, because it seems like Nintendo was able to get away with the fact that choice where in another game that might just be part of the game. Like with Fallout, you choose another group and go with that. Faction is the word I'm looking for. Thank you. And it's just part of the game, where this one, it's a whole other purchase. And I don't see it as being malicious or anything.
No, because depending upon where you go, it's a full game. Like I could see if I went this way, it's 5 hours. If I went this way, it's 5 hours.
Mm-hmm.
If I went that way, it's 5 hours. Then they got a problem on their hands. But when you're talking each game is 30 to 40 hours, that's more than enough for one game. So the fact that they want to tell me that you got to pay more money, and let's be honest, I paid $80 for 3 games. Mm-hmm. That's cheaper than buying 3 games normal. Because if I bought 3 full price games, I'm looking at $120. Mm-hmm. If you bought, and it was the same thing with my buddy Miguel. After we went to New York City last week to the Nintendo World Store, we came back. We went to Best Buy because he wanted to buy. He was looking for the special edition. He couldn't find it, so he was like, "All right, I'm just going to get the game." When he bought the game at Best Buy, he bought Birthright, paid $40. He bought the DLC right there for Conquest for $20. Mm-hmm. So they're doing things to make this cheaper than normal. Now I don't know how long that's going to last. So you might, if you are interested in the game, you might want to jump on now and not wait. But I don't think that the pricing is that far out of whack. Like, so seriously.
That's what I love about hearing. That's what I love hearing about from you is that I think that there's like blanket opinions that get applied to. Well, I can't believe that they're doing this. But if you really look at it, it means that there's a right way to do it, which is encouraging, and it means that Nintendo is leading the charge on that one, which is also very, very exciting. But I think that there are certain things like season passes. There are certain words that happen that come around in the gaming world that people just have a real bad knee-jerk reaction to, or adverse reaction to. And normally you would think that would be applied here to Fire Emblem, the way that it's kind of structured. But it is done right. It does make sense from a bundling and from a value proposition perspective to do it that way rather than $40 here, $40 here, and then another. It's like you say, $80 for 3 games, and these are huge, huge campaigns. I'm going to be playing this all year.
Hasn't Nintendo been getting away with this for years with the Pokemon games anyway?
Well, that's where I was really going with. Yeah, totally. And I think those games are a little bit more similar.
Yeah, this game,
these are.
Other than the first 6 chapters, that's all that's the same in this game. Mm-hmm. Like, I really thought, because this is what I thought. I thought that if I play Birthright or I play Conquest, it's the same story, same maps, flipped. But when I listened to NVC and Pear was playing Birthright and Jose was playing Conquest, when they talked, they said the stories are totally different. Yep. The maps are totally different. It's not like, okay, you go to this, I'm on this ship. I just got done fighting on the ship. So it's not like I fight on the ship, and then if I was on the other side, I'd be on the other side of the ship. No,
Right.
it's totally different areas. It's a different storyline. The premise is the same,
That's
but the
definitely
overall
where the
story
value
is different.
comes in.
What's that?
It's definitely where the value comes in then, because it is a new experience, even though the story might be, you know, similar, like on the opposite side, but if the environments and the levels are totally different or even partially different, like that's a big difference.
And they say Revelation is the crown jewel. Like if you go through the first 2 games, if you play them to completion, you get such a payout with Revelation. So I'm excited for it. I when I first talked to people about it, I was like, oh, I know me. I'll play the first game, maybe beat it if I'm lucky, and then I'm done. I'll put it away. I'm to the point where I'm like, right now, I'm like, I want to beat them all. And I'm playing, like you, I'm playing as much as I possibly can. Right now, I've been going into a real grinding phase and really diving into this game and grinding away at it. And the other thing is, it's like Amiibo. I got all the Fire Emblem Amiibo, and I've scanned them in. They're not easy to beat at all. Like, I went up against Marth, and Marth crushed me. And I was like, okay, I'm done. That's it. I'm going to have to grind and get stronger before I even mess with Marth again. But I've scanned in Marth, and I scanned in Ike. I still have Robin and Lucina that I can scan in. And I'm wondering if Roy will scan in as well when he comes. But
I bet he will.
Yeah, but it's like, I like that. Like, I could scan in Amiibo, and I could bring that person on my team if I can beat them. I have to beat them. It's not a matter of, like, you know, so that's where, like, when we were talking about before with the Amiibo, that's the things I like. I like that, like, hey, I got this Amiibo, and I can use them for a bunch of different things, but, oh, here, by the way, you can scan it, because it's not as bad as the scanning in with Steam, Codename Steam. Like, Codename Steam stunk, because you could only keep them, if they died, you have to rescan them. This is the case. You scan them in, and then you have to fight them. And if you beat them, then they join your squad. So it's kind of neat.
Are you playing on your new 3DS then, or do you have one of the scanners?
No, I have a new 3DS.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I'm being silly about it. My new 3DS is still in the box, and I don't know why. I have like a whole pet.
That's madness.
It is mad. It is that is where we're crossing the line. So I have to not get this Pokemon stuff. It's stupid, you guys.
I thought I was bad. You're worse than me, man. At least I open them. I have a collection as well. But I just put them back on the shelf when I'm done. Like, I'll go through and I'll play with them, and then when the next one comes out that I want to buy it, and I put the next one up on the shelf.
I'm not joking when I tell you guys I have serious inner turmoil about all this stuff.
Holy cow. No, keep doing what you're doing. You're fine.
No, it's not fine.
It's right. Toby, man, we're way off the
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Toby, what are you playing?
So I'm playing a bit more Firewatch. I can't really talk about it without spoiling anything, though, so I'll just gloss over that. But I am enjoying the story, though, and I'm not feeling any motion sickness like you are, Bobby. So
I tried again the other day. I got 10 minutes in, I shut it off.
Yeah,
it's bad.
Is it not a game that you're feeling compelled to just kind of like sit down for a Saturday afternoon and bang out?
Well, the thing is, like, it's a short game, and you probably could do that. But I'm sort of the person that likes to make things last, like, because I think it's like a £15 game, and if that's over in like 3 hours, I might feel a bit ripped off. Whereas if I stretch it out over a week or two, then even though I might have spent the same amount of time on it, I just feel like I've got more out of it, you know.
I see.
But it's just it's a mental thing, you know.
No, you're talking to the
guy who got a free Steam World Heist game, right? I gave him a code. He got it for free. He takes it right up to the end, and then stops playing.
I did complete it though.
For a month, I had to say
it was a month.
Like, finish it off. We were supposed to talk about it after he beat it, and he waited a month before he finally finished it off. Like, he is ridiculous.
But what's interesting though is I've got to a part in the story that's on a cliffhanger, and you're about to find out what happened to a specific group. I won't spoil it, but I've stopped playing there, and I'm like, that gives me more incentive to something to look forward to. You know, like when your favorite TV episode ends on a cliffhanger, it's like, I can't wait to play that again. So
go play it, man.
I will play it. But the thing is, like, I could have found out straight away, but there'd be no suspense in that, you know.
Okay.
All right.
Anyway, so I'm also playing Disney Infinity on Wii U. So
nice.
only just picked up Disney Infinity,
Which
so
one are
we
you
got
playing?
3.0. So
Okay.
we got the Star Wars one,
Start with one.
and I wasn't sure which console to get it on because I know it's a kids game, but I assume it would run better on PlayStation 4. But I felt like supporting my Wii U, so I got it on Wii U.
Yeah. That makes
And
sense.
so I did that, but I'm almost regretting that decision a little bit because I was messing about with the toy box area of the game, and it runs like crap. Like certain areas of the game, it's like 10 frames a second, and it's like Jesus Christ, this is bad. But when you're actually doing the main storyline, it runs much more smoothly, like in the actual levels rather than the the open area of the toy box. So I don't know whether it's just bad optimization or whether the Wii U just couldn't handle it. I'm sure it's just a bad port, but at least it runs okay in the main campaign as it was. So, but yeah, it's an interesting game. It's definitely a kids game, so I'm not like wowed by it, but it's a fun co-op experience because we're playing it with Karina. So yeah.
Okay, we're going to kick into our first topic, and it's a shame that Holly's not here because that was the main reason why I picked this topic. But yesterday was the 20th anniversary of Pokemon, and Friday Nintendo did a Pokemon Direct. This is crazy because I know that if Holly was here, she'd be excited, and I know that she was excited for this because we had an earlier episode that she had discussed where she was excited for the next generation of Pokemon and all that stuff. What I want to talk about, though, and we're going to diversify a little bit because I know none of us, the three of us, are really super into Pokemon.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to pivot a little bit. The leaks. So the leaks come out Thursday, and in a nutshell, the leaks are basically Sun and Moon are coming. The Direct hits on Friday, and exactly as I felt and I predicted, there was all disappointment throughout afterwards.
I think that disappointment though it partially comes from there being the leak, but the main disappointment for me is the lack of any real footage. Like they basically announced the game, showed some concept art, and they didn't show anything else. So it's like a bit pointless anyway.
I think it's really tied to the leak. Really, I think that if the leak doesn't happen, Pokemon has just all this clout in the world that they could have just shown us logos, which is essentially what they did, and the world would explode because that's what happened when the leaks came out.
Yeah,
people were like Sun and Moon, Sun and Moon. I'm like, what is this? Like, is this a? I know little about Pokemon, so I didn't know if that was a reboot or something or a remake or something. But it was brand new. It doesn't mean anything, Sun and Moon. But people were pumped that the games were called Sun and Moon. That's all they needed to show. And had the leaks not happened, it would have been the best thing and all the effort that they need to do. And they've got a nice steady rollout of communications that they can put out to get everybody even more hyped about it.
Especially since it's not really coming out for another 8-9 months. So for me, it was like, hey, here's what we're working on. They showed some artwork of some center, like Pokemon centers and stuff that they're doing in the game, and then they did show a couple of screenshots and things like that. Like, so to me, I felt like and I know that people were all upset too that they didn't talk about Pokemon Go, but we got to remember this: Nintendo has made it fully clear that as of now, their intentions are fully to keep mobile away from their gaming stuff. So even though they're part of this and all that, there was never, in my mind, there was never any idea that they were going to talk about Pokemon Go. I felt like that's mobile. They want to keep that separate from the Directs. The Directs right now are video game related, what's going on. I also felt like, the announcement of Red, Blue, and Yellow was more or less, I mean, they talked about it before, but this was more or less to say, like, hey, it's coming tomorrow, because they never officially gave it a date. They had just said, like, it's coming. So I felt like what they did was fine. I didn't really necessarily have an issue with it. I thought it was a little short. They probably could have went a little bit longer than they did. I think it was like 7 minutes total.
I didn't mind that.
Yeah, I didn't.
They also have that really that cool thing where you can now bring all your Pokemon forward all the way back from the original games. That was awesome.
That is a cool thing. Yeah.
What other franchise can you even think of that we were blown away when Mass Effect brought save games from one game to the next?
Yeah.
I mean, that's something else entirely, but you go back 20 years for this game, and you can just start bringing your entire collection.
That is amazing. You think, like, imagine if somebody could go back to, like, a SNES game and bring their save from a SNES game to a Wii U game, something like that. It's like, wow. Man.
But I think this is what people are losing sight of, and this is what annoys me. Is, okay, they didn't do a lot, they didn't talk about a lot. Okay, it's a 20th anniversary. At least they acknowledged it. Last weekend, the 30th anniversary of Zelda hit, and Nintendo didn't say boo about it. Didn't even tweet about it, didn't do anything. So it's amazing how they acknowledge one thing and you get mad about it because they didn't give you more, but then they don't acknowledge one thing and you get mad. It's like they can't win. It doesn't matter what they do. The fans are going to be against them.
Well, the thing is with the Zelda thing is they know that it's the 30th anniversary of Zelda, so they have got Zelda games coming out this year, and a tweet's a tweet, but they are celebrating it by releasing, we think, two big Zelda games this year, being Twilight Princess HD and Zelda U. Yeah. So, like, they're going to be celebrating the 30th anniversary. Maybe not on the exact date.
I agree. I know they are, but that's what I'm saying. Like, here they come out and they do a direct the day before to celebrate and announce the 30th anniversary or the 20th anniversary of Pokemon, and we're going to do this, that, and the other. And then yesterday, Nintendo World Store had a huge thing up there. All the GameStops did stuff yesterday, like all the Best Buys did stuff, like a lot of different places did things. So I felt like, okay, here they are, they're acknowledging, and you're not happy with it. But
you have to remember there's more than just Nintendo there, right? On the Pokemon side, there's a Pokemon company.
It's Pokemon company.
You got to think that it's them pushing it. They're the marketing gurus, so they're the geniuses behind all this entire thing. They got to be the ones who are pushing this whole anniversary thing. They do it better than anybody.
Oh,
so I think I think people forget that there are two separate entities at work here, and that's probably why. Because Zelda isn't the first one that is a missed anniversary.
Oh, absolutely. They missed the 30th. They missed the 30th anniversary of the NES.
Exactly. So I think they've actually come out and said like that it's not a huge thing to them. They did the year of Luigi, and we all saw how that was.
That kind of flopped.
I mean, whatever, right? So we can either have them celebrate these anniversaries, do them half-assed, or we can have Pokemon just go all out because people go nuts for it.
Yeah.
So I don't know how nuts people go over a 30th anniversary of something for Legend of Zelda, and I don't know.
Oh, you're crazy.
I think they're going to go big at E3. It's going to be all 30th anniversary Zelda stuff.
I hope so. They did it for Mario, and it's like,
all relative compared to Pokemon.
Yeah, but Zelda's always and it feels real. I feel really strong about this. Zelda's always been like a second fiddle to Mario.
Yeah, definitely.
Mm-hmm.
And I like Zelda more than Mario. So for like the Zelda series is what I'm saying, not Zelda particularly. But I like the whole game and much better than Mario. So it always bothers me when they play second fiddle to the one, and I feel like they're the same level. You push the one much more, so obviously he's in everybody's face, and you could do much more, with the sports games and all that stuff. So
yeah.
But okay, so this topic, me and Toby were talking just a little bit before Sean showed up for this, but because he asked me where this topic came from, and I said I was actually listening to the podcast with Sean again this week, and that's where the question came from. But it was, if you could go back in time, what are some geeky things that you would tell yourself about the future? Let's start with, I'll start with Sean, but let's do one. Do you guys have a couple of things or just one?
I've got a whole list of things here.
Of course you do. You come with like 90 things when I ask you. How many things do you have, Sean?
I have a few too, and it's probably the same where you guys are coming from. Where like if one's a topic that we can discuss, and if it's not, then whatever.
Okay. Well, we'll do a couple. So Sean, you do one, then we'll go to Toby, then I'll come in, and then we'll go back and do one more after that, and then. So go ahead, Sean. What's your first thing that you would probably tell yourself?
Okay, so if I were to go back in time to younger, smaller, even nerdier me, but being very, very shy about being nerdy, I didn't want to be like, well, I guess that's another thing I could talk about too. I would go back and tell myself that PlayStation is the real deal. Don't make fun of it. Don't make fun of the triangles and the squares and the stupid buttons on it. I would go back and tell myself that it's okay to like another console other than the Nintendo console. That there are some monumental games that are going to appear on this console, and you need to buy this thing from day one and be up to speed on that right from the get-go. I totally dismissed the PlayStation. The fact that it was called PlayStation, I didn't like the name. I remember not thinking that was very serious. Sony was the TV maker. I mean, there was just so many reasons. And I think there was a Panasonic 3DO, and all these other consoles were coming out at the time that were what I thought as well, where they didn't really amount to anything. But definitely I would go back and say, like, pull together some cash, do what you got to do, and buy and then keep all these Square games that are coming out for this system, because it's amazing. It's not all about the hype that you're seeing from Final Fantasy VII commercials on TV. PlayStation is really amazing.
Yeah, that's a really interesting thing, because I was gonna say a very similar thing, because Bobby can tell you as well, like that we both kind of used to be very much Nintendo fanboys, especially in the Wii era. Like I was, like, you know, of the viewpoint that HD didn't matter. Like I was fine with my Wii games, didn't need HD games. Like, you know, as long as gameplay is key and all of that stuff, which it is. But like I was like such a big Nintendo fan at the time. I was like dismissing anything Sony or Microsoft did. And I wish that I could go back and tell myself that, you know, you should embrace other consoles more. Don't be such a fanboy, and, you know, buy a PS3 when you can afford it, because it's very expensive. But, like, you know, because I got PS3 right at the end of its life cycle, and I started to get some good games then, but I was like, wow, I missed out on a lot at that time. So, you know, if I could go back and say just be more open-minded, then I definitely would.
Yeah.
Okay, so, and I'm going to repeat myself from what I told Toby, but my feeling was I brought this up on your show where I regret getting rid of all my stuff. It pains me when I think of all the stuff that I had and I let go. I would go back to myself and say, get rid of baseball cards, sell off your baseball card collection, sell off your comic book collection, except for maybe some key things that you really want to keep, but don't go crazy with a heavy comic book collection, and buy more Nintendo stuff. Like, and hang on to everything for the life of you. Do not get rid of it. And, you know, the money you're spending on baseball cards and comic books could be funding your video game, you know, stuff, but don't get rid of that stuff. So that's my one big regret, was losing all that stuff and not having it. So if I could definitely go back, that would be my thing. I would tell myself, don't be an idiot. Keep your stuff. Selling
hardware has been my biggest regret. The most notable is probably the Xbox. So when the 360 came out, it wasn't cheap. You know, if you're going to buy a game and another controller, you're going to drop probably $600 or $700 on it. At least in Canada, it was insanely expensive. And so we talked about this again on my show as well, about this like self-perpetuating economy where you don't get revenue or you don't get money from somewhere else. For some reason, you like sell video games to buy video games. You don't look anywhere else for this money, which is kind of silly. And anybody listening, I would totally advise against that. Keep your hardware, keep your controllers, especially if they're in decent shape. Like, you have no idea how rare it is for your stuff to be in decent shape. Because if you're gonna go back and buy things later, it's from people who didn't give two shits about their stuff. Yeah. So you're getting totally Anyway, I sold my original Xbox, 4 controllers, and tons of games. I think we probably have 50 or 60 games. I sold it for like $200. So just so I could take a dent out of the 360.
Yeah.
And I mean, going back, you think about some really amazing games on that thing, and it was a solid. Literally, it was solid. The console was just massive. But it still works. The drive on it is probably one of the best disk drives on a console. Never failed for me. The hard drive was amazing. I had the huge controllers and I had the smaller controllers as well. Just a great collection that I'll never, even if I try give a lot of effort to it, I'll never get that original kind of setback. So definitely would tell myself, no more selling hardware, especially if you're just going to be basically giving it all away for $200.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it is like the power of nostalgia as well. Like, when you think back to the games you played as a kid that you don't have anymore, like, it hurts. Like, you think, oh, I wish I could experience that again, and then you have to spend tons of money on eBay to get those games you had as a kid, and it's like, wow.
I might even tell myself, even if I went back and I had a conversation, and younger me was like, you know what, old Sean, I really need to sell this thing. I really want to get my 360, and this is the only way that I can do it. Why are you telling me not to do it? Then I would at least go back and say, young Sean, just get more than $200 for it. At least, you know, like, there's some, trust yourself, know that there's some value in this stuff, and that if people really want it, they'll pay what it's actually worth, where I was just trying to get rid of it so I can get some money in my pocket.
Yeah. What about you, Toby? What's another thing?
I would tell myself that the N64 sort of Dreamcast era wasn't the best that graphics would ever be. Because at the time, like, you think that, like, how can it get better than this? But you look at games now, and, like, they look real. And even now, if I could go into the future, I'd be telling myself now, this ain't the best it's going to get, because it's going to get better. And you know it. And, like, there's so many things like that with, you know, the way games look, or the size of games, like open world games now. Like, you'd never think that would be possible as a kid, but it is. So.
Well, I said it to you the other day when I bought GTA 4. Well, Vice City. I bought Vice City on the PSN because they had a bundle with all three, GTA 3, Vice City, and San Andreas, for $17. I was like, all right, I'll grab it, because apparently they put trophies on everything, and they apparently up-resed. Doesn't look very up-resed. But when I started playing, I messaged Toby, I'm like, oh, this is garbage. Like, I loved Vice City. I love Vice City. But it's like, even the voice acting just sounds so horrible. And it doesn't even play like I remember it remotely in my mind. And I'm like, oh, this is bad. So yeah, that's for sure. Okay, so if I go back, the one other thing I tell myself is everything you're dreaming about right now in movies, all the stuff that you want to see come true on the big screen is going to come true. You're going to see Batman, like, fight like Batman. You're going to see Superman and Batman. You're going to see the Justice League. All this stuff. Just be prepared and...
Be prepared.
Hold on to your butts.
You know, you're going to be okay. Like, stop flipping out with your friends and stuff, like wishing and dreaming. It's going to happen. You know, it's because I cannot wait. I got a month.
Would you really tell yourself that that's going to happen? Wasn't it better just, like, creating these things in your brain? No? No,
because, well, listen, this is just a hypothetical.
Yeah.
If I could go back, obviously I can't go back in time and tell myself that.
I would let myself be surprised, for sure.
Yeah, when I was telling Joey Ferris and Alan Plummer when I was on their podcast, I said to him, I said, when that moment, when at the Comic-Con a couple years ago, Zack Snyder brings, I don't even know the guy's name, but he's the general in Man of Steel. He brings him out to read a passage of something that the next Man of Steel movie is going to be based off. And he starts reading that, and I legit got chills. Because I knew what he was reading. Because I had read it a million times as a kid. And that's the luxury of having nothing to do when you're a kid. You just read over and over and over again. So I knew what he was reading was from The Dark Knight Returns. One of my all-time favorite comic books ever. And I was just like, oh my God. That's Bruce Wayne telling Clark Kent that he just whipped his ass. And this is amazing. And then when that logo came up, I was just like, I was taking a nap. And for some reason I woke up and I looked at my phone, I don't know why, and I saw this. And I ran downstairs. I watched it, and I was just like, oh my God, I got to watch this on the big screen. So I ran downstairs and I put it on the big TV. And my wife was like, what are you doing? I'm like, watch. Just shut up and watch. And we're sitting there watching. I'm like, flipping out. And she's like, did I really marry you? Like, what is wrong with me? Like,
Forever.
I'm second guessing all my decisions in life because of this 1 minute. Because you are ridiculous. So, yeah, I would be excited for it. Okay, let's just jump ahead. We're gonna move forward. I've been doing this segment a little bit, and I kind of like it. That's why I keep bringing it back. But if we ran Nintendo, so if we ran Nintendo, would you bring back Nintendo Power? Toby, what's your feeling?
I'm not even sure we had Nintendo Power in the UK. We had similar like magazines, like official magazines and stuff. But I'm not sure if we actually had that particular one. But
Really?
I know it had like, because we had official Nintendo magazine is what we had. Like,
Oh, okay.
but
That wasn't by Nintendo.
It was official, as in it was like endorsed by Nintendo.
Yeah.
But it wasn't. I mean, they had like guides and stuff, but I don't think like we had the nostalgia for it. Like you, I mean, I could be wrong. Maybe I just wasn't old enough. But yeah, I mean, like in terms of a magazine in that style, then I'd say no because print media is dead, like in that form. But I do like the idea that people keep these magazines that they had that had lots of like guides and stuff. Like people go back with their retro games and they grab their Nintendo Power from the closet or the loft or whatever, and they they flick through it and they can still find these old guides and stuff to these games and use them in that way. So I think that's cool, but I don't think they should bring it back.
So you never had it. That's why you're saying that.
Pretty much, yeah.
Okay. Idiot.
But like any form of Nintendo magazine, like I think any magazine, I don't know. I'm past magazines now. Like,
Okay, Sean, what about you?
Yeah, do you mean like bring back the magazine itself, or are we allowed to reimagine it in a
You can reimagine that, and that's because that's originally like I look at it like Game Informer. When you go into GameStop, I don't know how to do it in Canada, and I don't.
Yep, same thing.
Game Informer, you walk in, they go, when you re-sign up, they go, do you want physical or digital copies?
Mm-hmm.
You can pick, and then you pick, and then it's delivered to you each week or each month, exactly how you pick it. So that would be me, like, and they could even do something where they say, hey, you can get both.
Why don't you describe to me what Nintendo Power is or was? Like,
okay,
what was it about? Like,
all right, so for those that don't know, the very secluded Europe, it's,
what made
Central Africa as well.
What makes it different to a normal video game magazine?
You need to stop. You need to stop praising the Queen and start getting outside of your box. No, truthfully, I know that Nintendo Power was a straight up propaganda machine, but the nice thing about it was you got images, you got maps, you got all this different stuff that, and granted, you can go on the internet and get all this stuff for free. That's fine. But there was just something about each month that magazine coming to the house and you having it in your hand. You could sit there and read it and flip through the pages and stuff. But it was basically like, it was your typical gaming magazine, but they would have featured articles where they would go through different things and go. I'm looking at my stack right over there, and I'm like, but they had all different features. They had like cheats, like a cheats section, cheats and codes, where you could, where they would give you like tips and things, or like example, like Mike Tyson's Punch Out. Eventually, at some point, they put in the code to get to Mike Tyson in there.
Isn't that that's just the same as any other magazine though that was out?
I get it. Then. Yes, it was, but it felt different because it was coming from Nintendo. So it's like okay, it's exactly like this. So the leaks come out on Thursday for Pokemon, right? Some people are just like me and you were talking about it, like, man, I hope this is fake. I hope it's not legit. Like, I hope everybody that's flipping out today gets let down that it's not true. It's the same philosophy. Like when GamePro reported on it or EGM reported on it, like it was exciting, but when it came into the Nintendo magazine, you knew it was coming from Nintendo. You knew that it was legitimate news. You knew that it was on the up and up.
So it's almost like a Nintendo Direct in print form.
Exactly. Except for they would do like game reviews, previews, they would do special interviews. So you would get like these interviews from Miyamoto and all the.
So that is basically official Nintendo magazine for us in the
So
UK.
think about it this way. So I was thinking the exact same thing with the Nintendo Direct. It's basically they're delivering news that you would be getting from anywhere else, but it's different because it's Nintendo. It's different because of all the energy and the different angles that they take with these things. It was the same thing with them. I'm really surprised that they didn't move Nintendo Power to some form of digital. But to your point, we get video games across the board, and we go like, video games are the same, video games are the same. Then you get to Nintendo, you go, there's something special here. There's something different. There's a polish and there's a sheen to these games. I mean, now it just comes down to the fact that they work. But there's just something different. It's still a game. You still play it with a controller. You still put it up on your screen just like any other game. But because it's Nintendo, it just has this charm to it. And it really surprised me that Nintendo Power it just went from a thing to pretty much nothing. You got a warning in the mail that said the Nintendo Power is coming to an end, and thank you so much for your support, and we'll be saying goodbye in just a few months. Rather than doing this, if I were to bring it back, which I think I would definitely do it in the style of Game Informer, where you have a choice, you have a physical piece, and you have a digital piece. But Nintendo has all this exclusive stuff to talk about, and only they can deliver in the way like they really enjoy controlling their message.
Yeah.
Doing that through a Nintendo Power, whether it's physical or digital or some sort of weird something else, I don't even know what it is, would be so incredibly powerful. You think all the things that are in Nintendo Power are now divvied up with Directs, My Nintendo, or whatever it's called now. There's all these different pieces of it all over the internet, but it used to just come in once a month. You have this chance to just get totally pumped about owning an NES or Super Nintendo or whatever you had at the time. And so it's funny because the things that really make it special in terms of actual articles within it wouldn't survive now. Cheats, features, things like that. But that's not to say that they couldn't put the same sort of angles and the same Nintendo applications to delivering news that you normally see in another magazine. So I think just calling it like it's just another thing. In most cases, like if Microsoft wanted to do that, I would totally agree with you. But Nintendo comes at everything with such a thinking outside of the box that it would actually work somehow. It would actually work.
Well, the other thing too was with Nintendo Power, you got the news first through Nintendo Power. Mm-hmm. So even though there was other gaming magazines out there, Nintendo always announced the stuff first through Nintendo Power. So for me, I just feel like it would be a way to keep the connection going month to month to month. Like,
exactly.
We flip out when a Direct is, but it's been, 3-4 months since the last Direct, and everybody's chomping at the bit for the next one. We got the Pokemon one. But it's still, like, the Pokemon one was a Pokemon one, that's fine, but that's not, to me, a true Direct. Like, the Smash one they did, that's not a true Direct. Like, to me, a Direct is when they're going through the laundry list of stuff, and they're talking about all the different things that are going on. So, if they did the monthly magazine to, like, kind of hold people over and go, hey, look, here's some more, because it was always like, they would announce Zelda, and then for 6-7 months, you would get little snippets of Zelda in the magazine, different images.
I think that's so outdated, though. It's really outdated.
But the point of it isn't. The point of it isn't to be current and to be. It's just something fun to give the fans. Is the way I feel.
It's not fun because you know that if you're paying for that, the moment anything remotely newsworthy appears in one of those e-magazines or a real magazine, it's going to be on the internet the same day for free. Like, somebody's going to report on it. So,
but it wasn't just about the news. You know what I'm saying? Like, there was more to it. It was just the reading of the articles. It was enjoyable. I know they're never going to bring it back. And I'm just saying that I really loved Nintendo Power, and I would love if they were to bring it back, even if it was digital format where I could just read on my iPad. You know, I know magazines are kind of going by the wayside, but they had like comic strips in it, and it was just a lot of stuff. If you didn't have one,
it's nothing they can't do on a website, though. If there was an official Nintendo news website with articles and stuff, that's fine. But that's like a different thing. Like,
Everything but news. Like news, you're right. You get anywhere. They're always going to have something in their back pocket where it's the big announcements that have to come from them, and it's coming directly to you. Those things are really important. But there's a lot of things that you can celebrate in Nintendo, whether in a Nintendo Power, and it's not just about what's new. It's celebrating the community and who's playing these games. You know, that there's a whole bunch of speedrunning people out there who are doing crazy things with Mario 64. Like there's just different subsects of Nintendo fans. There's amiibos. There's all these different things that you could really start to have a community around. And I'm surprised that Nintendo isn't doing something more to engender that entire community, whether it is Nintendo Power or something else like that. Just getting people around talking about Nintendo. They could do a better job because they used to do that. So I think that the spirit of Nintendo Power could live on. But you're totally right. Like everything about a magazine is outdated. Looking to a single source for news the news isn't even news because magazines are on like a 3-month production cycle.
Yeah.
So it would have to be the spirit of what made Nintendo Power special for that age, because at that time magazines were it. Now it's something different, so they would have to find different things to celebrate. But
this is why
I do like the idea of that.
At the end of the day, this is why you didn't get it in the first place, because you guys don't appreciate nothing. And you're downright horrible, where you just want to crush people's dreams.
No, we had official Nintendo magazine, and that was probably better actually.
This is why the United States left you guys. This is why you guys still celebrate the Queen, because you guys are just stuck in a time warp. Although I'm talking about going back to a time warp, so it's all right, let's wrap up because we kind of went a little long than normal. Sean, thank you very much for coming on. We're very happy to have you on. Plug yourself. Tell people how they can find you and all that stuff.
Oh man, well, thank you so much for having. I'm sad it's over. Thank you for having me. So people can find me on the Twitter at Sean Capri, Sean like Connery, Capri like the pants. And every week I run a podcast for WeTheNerdy.com. The podcast is We the GamerCast. So go check that out. Every week I talk to strangers on the internet, so this is just kind of part of it. So every now and then we'll either talk about what people are geeking out about, kind of same as you guys, or just going way back. And so if you haven't already checked out Bobby Mine episode, it was just a couple weeks ago, go back and check it out. If you want to know more about this guy, I mean, we go back. I went Larry King on him a little bit and just kind of let him go. I leaned in and I listened to all these stories about, what makes him the guy that he is today.
Biggest mistake you could have ever made. Give you a microphone and say go. And it was
amazing. I actually was leaning in, but I was sitting back somehow all at the same time, and I went right back in time with you, man. It was an absolute blast, and it doesn't matter. It was a beautiful thing because it engendered the entire spirit of the podcast, where we're coming from all different walks of life, all around the world, but it's games that bring us together. Yeah. And whether we're in Canada or the United States or the UK or wherever we are, we're going through very, very similar times, and there's no better example of that than my conversation with you. It always makes me think about how, like, today we all know if something breaks down, you look it up on the internet and you can fix it.
Yeah.
But back in the day, I don't know how this happened without the internet, without really a easy way to share across even within the same city, let alone around the world. How did we all know to blow into the NES cartridge to make it work? How did we know that? We all just knew it.
This is true. You know what? You're asking, but you know what? It didn't work.
It worked.
No, if you,
I know
your mind,
I believe it worked.
It worked.
In your mind, you believe it worked, but when you go back and there was recent articles recently that they were just like, it really didn't work. Didn't do anything better. It was just kind of the connection that was there. But we believed it did. That's it there, man. I'd be like, the slow blow, where you just blow it real slow. And then you do the quick one real quick. And
we all had our tricks. I don't know how. I don't think that was a Nintendo Power or any magazine or anything.
No.
We just knew it as if like it was natural as breathing.
It's funny. You think about that because, man, we used to talk about stuff like we talked about on the podcast where we talked about where like you sat around the cafeteria and you would talk. And you guys we're sitting there and we're talking and we're thinking we're the only ones that know about this stuff. And it's like, but we're not, and it shows now that like it's just nuts. It's nuts.
Yeah, man. That blows me away, pardon the pun.
So okay, so you can follow Toby Instagram, he is at underscore
No,
at amiibo at amiibo underscore workshop. Twitter.
What?
He's got two different handles on two different things, so it screws me up occasionally. But he does custom amiibo. I don't know if you know that, Sean.
I did see those. Those were amazing.
Thank you very much.
We don't need to boost his ego because he's out of control.
All right, they're all right. They're all right.
And they're fine. They're cheap. Mine's falling over.
Yeah, says the guy who's got 2 or 3 of them. Already.
Yeah, but we'll talk about this after hours. You ripped me off. But so Twitter, he's at Toby's _take. I am on Instagram and Twitter at the Geek Gurus. That is all. Peace, mother.
Bye.
Goodbye.